Hi, welcome to the Imperfect Podcast. Nate discusses various topics through the eyes of a young Christian. The goal is to invite others to learn about Christianity through casual conversations with wonderful guests, especially people who want to grow in their faith.
Maybe I want to be the passenger princess. You know what I'm saying? Drive me around.
Before this episode begins, remember that none of us are perfect and that we are here to learn and help each other grow. Feel free to donate to Nate through Cash App at Imperfect Podcast. Make sure to follow the Imperfect Podcast on Instagram, TikTok, and YouTube. We hope you take something great away from this episode. Enjoy!
Hello, everybody. Hi, guys. Welcome to another episode with too many familiar faces. Jeff, Meme, was like, what, 7 or something like that?
Something like that.
We're pushing
I don't know.
Or might be pushing double digits. It's possible.
7 episodes?
Yes.
Yeah.
He's been here a lot. You're almost pushing double digits too with all the live streams we've been doing.
Oh, yeah, if we include those.
And we just dropped another one. We got 2 together. Go ahead and reintroduce yourselves to the audience, people that may have never seen you before. Ladies first.
Ladies first, of course. I'm Kamaria Kirk, and I'm I always forget this part. CEO of Kirk Foundation. We'll leave it at that.
So
Kirk.
you have a podcast.
KIRK.
Yeah. You have a podcast.
I know, but okay, Nathan. It's under construction, but sure, there's still episodes up there right now. Kirk Podcast, KIRK with Kamaria Kirk on Apple and Spotify, on all streaming platforms. Google.
Hey.
Some things I don't even know what they are, but they're on there. My distributor's lit.
There you go.
Hi, it's me again, KingBeam. I'm back. I make YouTube videos at KingXBeam. I have a podcast. I'm thinking about changing the podcast to like a show on YouTube. I don't know, but it's called The Interviews. Check it out. New episode comes out next week, guys. Well, I don't know when this podcast episode comes out, but at the time of this recording,
It might pass.
Yeah. Nate's gonna be on it, so you guys should like watch, you know? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know when this is coming out. But anyways, today we're talking about, hopefully by the time this comes out, it will be before the end of May, which is Mental Health Awareness Month. I already have an episode about this, but that was very spontaneous because at the time I felt like it was a topic I needed to talk about because it was on my mind. But now we're gonna have some sort of organization to our discussion. Even though there is no organizational structure to this episode, we're just gonna talk. Yeah, we're gonna talk about mental health, kind of a little bit more on the men's mental health side. Not to say women's mental health doesn't matter. Everybody's mental health matters. But in my humble opinion, I feel like men don't address their mental health, or at least their thoughts, the things they go through, more than women do. Do you have something to say about that? My fault. Yeah, I'm sorry. Did I say something
you
wrong?
were no.
Okay, my bad. Yeah, I think we might have talked about it on the live stream already. The reason why men aren't vulnerable, especially when it comes to mental health. What was I watching? I think I was watching Club Shay Shay, Shannon Sharp's podcast with Johnny Manziel, and he asked why. If you don't know who Johnny Manziel is, he's a quarterback for the Cleveland Browns. He was asked why he felt like his team didn't like him, and he started off by talking about how one of his teammates always criticized him when he would ask the coaches questions for clarification. And he said that this specific teammate had always made smart remarks to him every time he asked a question. And his reaction was, okay, because you do that, never again will I ask a question, because I remember how my action led to this reaction and that caused embarrassment, and I didn't like that feeling. So that's going to cause me to cave in and say nothing. And in that moment, I instantly related because that's how I am throughout life. I'm pretty sure I might have talked about this on the live stream, but every time I do something and somebody reacts in a way that I don't like, I remember that and I adjust. So if I'm vulnerable and somebody clowns me for that, never again will I be vulnerable to maybe a certain group of people. That's something I don't think I only relate to, but I think a lot of men relate to mental health. Uh, like toxic masculinity. I don't know if that's the right term,
Yes.
but I'm pretty sure toxic masculinity says men aren't supposed to be emotional, not supposed to cry. Uh, yeah, you're considered feminine if you do that. I'm proud to say I cry. There's nothing wrong with that. I, what else did I say? Emotional. I could be emotional, and I ain't afraid to say that. And I hope other men can look at me and Beam. You've made videos about this. I hope people can look at men like us and women and see it's okay to be vulnerable and that, yeah, you're going to be judged, but if they judge you, then maybe you shouldn't be vulnerable to them. You got to have the right people in your life, things like that. So that's something I learned over my span of my life. Like, don't say you're not going to be vulnerable ever again. Just say you're not going to be vulnerable to these people. Be vulnerable to your Beams, your Kirks, your close friends, stuff like that.
Yeah.
Okay, you guys input now.
Oh,
So you feel like it took that one time? Well, you said you're more open to continue. Do you still do that? Is I guess what I'm trying to say. Like you said that one time you said something to these people and you felt like you couldn't say nothing again. Or was it just them specifically? Or were you still was it to like nobody? Like you're not gonna touch that topic at all because these people were like clowning me for it.
Well, for one, I'd say it wasn't one time. It's like a lifelong thing.
Oh.
Uh, I I'd say now, today, as of JPL, get out the camera. Uh, May 7th, I don't still do that. I'm more vulnerable and stuff like that. At least I'll say I don't talk to certain people about certain things. I understand who I can talk to, who I can't talk to about certain things. Um, I will say at least my in-person interactions, I can't recall a time where I was like vulnerable face to face, honestly. Uh, I might be lying, but there's never been a distinct moment where I was vulnerable to somebody face to face. And yeah, it's more like I'll text people, I'll call people, people call me, stuff like that. But I really can't remember. Yeah. Actually, no, I remember when I was at Beams College, we were recording an episode with one of his friends, and she asked me, Nate, how are you doing? I said, I'm doing horrible. And she's like, it was good that you were honest and you said no, because not a lot of people have the will to do that.
No. So I was gonna say I feel like you definitely been vulnerable in front of people before without even realizing it. I think there's a lot of different variations of vulnerable, but I feel like men only have a very limited definition of vulnerable. Like vulnerable is just oh crying in front of you or just expressing my feelings to you. But I feel like there's women we have other definitions of vulnerable. So for you guys vulnerable, what does that look like being vulnerable as men to other people? Or
I
some
feel like for
in
me,
person?
like being vulnerable is just like expressing my true mental state to other people, like exactly how I'm feeling to someone else. Because I know me personally, I overthink so much. There's a lot of things going on in my brain 24/7. And if I'm able to sit down with you and express how I really feel at that moment, then that's how I can really be vulnerable with you. Cause like I'd always like cried my whole life. I didn't really have a problem with that. I never felt feminine or anything. But my problem with being vulnerable with people was that I would tell people how I was feeling and they just like wouldn't care. People just didn't. I felt like no one cared about me as a person. So I would just stop being vulnerable with people and like keep myself at like an arm's length distance away from people and not get too close because I thought that, they don't care about me. So why reach that, vulnerable close state with someone else?
Yeah.
But like Nate was saying, you just gotta you gotta find the right person. You can't be vulnerable with everyone, I feel like, because everyone doesn't care. But the people that do, that's when you can really share your true feelings with.
Yeah. Well, okay. I actually have two things for that one. First thing you
Mhm.
said, felt feminine. Is that a real thing for men? Do you guys like if you were to cry? And I'm not talking now. Of course, maybe you guys have changed, or like just from what you see from other men, do you feel like they feel feminine when they cry or be vulnerable in front of other people or in front of women? Is that a thing? It's like I feel like a little girl because I heard that multiple times. Like, or stop crying like
Yeah,
a little girl. Like, what is that saying? What you mean? Like everybody cries. What about stop? You never heard stop crying like a little boy. Nobody's saying that.
I feel like it's not as like prevalent now that we're like mature, but I feel like if you're going through like, elementary, middle school, even high school, people are just immature and they like to like make fun of people and oh, you're crying, you're acting like a little girl, or they might call you gay or something like that. And then you don't want to get called names, so you don't want to cry. So you just like kind of bottle yourself up so you want to seem cool, crying isn't cool. So you want to act like you're tough.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Apparently, little girls aren't tough, right? That's where that
They
comes
are. I'd say so.
from. I'm just that's like what society is saying though. Like stop
Yeah.
crying like a little girl or stop acting like a little
Yeah.
girl. Yeah. What was the next? Oh, you said find your people, like find the right person. What does that look like for a guy to find the right person to be able to be vulnerable to? Like how can you discern who's the right person to open up to?
I don't think like I think Loki might not have a gender thing to it. Like I feel like it's the
For me, it
same.
does.
Uh-oh.
I'm not gonna lie. Men, yeah, there is. I will say it is a little bit harder to be vulnerable about around men because like we joke a lot and we'll tend to like clown each other and might use it against each other. But there are some, at least for me, there's some men that I can have real conversations with. Like I remember I kind of would get them on a podcast episode. And we were talking about how mental health in college just isn't talked about enough. Like it feels like everybody I know went through some sort of depressive state in freshman year, at least most people I know. And that just really puts you in a deep, dark place, especially when you're trying to worry about your academics. But there are some men that I know I trust that have the same mindset as me, at least, or same morals. I know we all think alike. We're all Christians, have some sort of structure, direction in our life. So I know those guys I can trust. Uh, as far as looking at other women, I don't. It's hard to put to words. Like I know who to trust, at the same time I don't. But it's more like somebody I've known for a while. At the end of the day, it's really about trust. But I know there's a few like female friends I have that I trust because I've known them for such a long time. Like literally, they'll come to me out of the blue. I'll come to them out of the blue. Like they'll be like, Nate, my life's a mess. I don't feel good. I'll be like, I'm sad. Why did I really do that with my life? Whatever, blah, blah, blah. I know we can have a good conversation. They'll listen, they'll give me the right advice. Listening is a big part. Hearing is different from listening. I was thinking about this earlier.
Oh, yeah.
Like you could give somebody advice or you can listen to somebody, but you can either just hear what they're saying and ignore it and have your own mindset, or you can listen to what they're saying and actually adjust or at least consider adjusting.
Yeah.
Um, it's like I said, it's so hard to put in the words who or what they have. I just know who they are. Like I have to take the time to develop trust and I'll guard myself. I won't say maybe over time I'll just like feel it out, see if I can trust this person, how they'll react. Like I'm a big observer. I like to sit back and wait, observe how things play out before it impacts me. So that goes the same with some of my friends, kind of. Like if I see that you reacted to this person being vulnerable to you, then I know, okay, I'm not talking to you about these things. We can just be surface level friends. We can't be deep connected friends, stuff like that.
Yeah.
I know for me in particular, like I trust like all my friends that I can be vulnerable with everyone, like all my friends. I trust them, but it's like my male friends, I can get vulnerable, but it seems like every time like a serious issue is affecting me, then I don't know. It always turns into a joke somehow. And then that makes me feel some type of way. But when I'm talking to my female friends, like Nate was saying, they'll actually just like sit down and listen. It's it's a difference. That's why I like going to my female friends more than my male friends when I'm actually like going through it because I feel heard. Like I remember a couple weeks ago, I don't know what something was upsetting me. I was mentally unwell and I was talking to my friends about it and you know, it was just jokes. But then I told one of my friends about it, a girl, and she drove up here at like 2 a.m., listened to me. We had a great heart to heart, and I just felt heard afterwards. And it was a great day. But yeah, it's just I can be vulnerable with a lot of people, but the response of the vulnerability is key.
Yeah.
And yeah.
Yeah. Hey, I like the way you said that. You said the response to the vulnerability.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it's key. That is so true. Nate, then what was funny?
Bro, nothing.
It was funny. That 2 a.m. got you. She drove up at 2 a.m. She was, honestly, we really do get it though. Like as women, just because it is different between men and women. Women, we feel stuff on a more deeper and more escalated scale. Like we just have more. I feel like some men like to think of it as, oh, girls just have problems. Like they just have more problems. No, we honestly, genuinely have more emotions in us, built in us that we can't even control all the time. And it just comes out. So sometimes we're not even trying to be vulnerable, like intentionally. It just happens to come out of us because sometimes we do have buildup. And the thing about women is it's always going to come out. It's not as easy as it is for men, which I'm not saying it's a good thing to like hold it in, but it's not as easy as for us to hold it in. Even though I do feel like men should get it out too. Sometimes women, we do it in ways that should have been handled more carefully. Like we can have like blow ups when it comes to our emotions from trying to hold it in. Men seem like y'all can just keep it in there, rock solid, and it go away. I don't think it ever go away though. It builds up for sure. But y'all were talking about saying it to other men, which is I've always noticed that, but I've never noticed it. Like I never sat and was like, wow, like your friend just said something to you that he seemed pretty upset about and you're laughing about it. Like looking at it as a woman, because you guys don't say anything back to them like, dang, bro, this is actually bothering me. Y'all kind of just low key laugh about it too. Like, yeah, well, the whole time you guys are like, I'm sad and I'm about to go home and probably cry about it later. I really tried to open up to you. So, like, and I feel like that's where men go wrong with other men and they feel like, oh, I can't talk to my bros about it because they're just going to take it as a joke. But what man has ever opened up to their friend about, like, or just told their friend that, no, this is for real. Like, I need you to take this seriously. When your friend laughs about it and you're laughing about it back at them, you're sending a signal that, oh, you think it's funny too, and it's not that big of a deal. Oh, you guys can just laugh it out. But I feel like it just would have been a whole different scenario if every time that happened, you were like, hey, like, there's nothing to joke about with this. Like, I'm actually going through it. I'm actually want to talk about it. But like, why is that? Why do men just kind of go along and like laugh about it? Because men, that's crazy. Men really do like laugh other men for the problems. And I don't even feel like it's intentional all the time. Like it's just they do the same thing. So you're just laughing about it with them, they're laughing about their own stuff that they tell to their friends, and whole time you guys feel a certain way about it, but it's like nothing's ever being said. But like, why? Is there a reason?
Like, why do I laugh at other people, or why do I laugh along when people laugh
Yeah,
at
why do you
me?
laugh along? Like, why don't you be like, hey, bro, this is actually an issue for me. I actually want to talk about it. What makes you just go along with them laughing about you?
Um, I feel like me personally, I feel like I kind of like conditioned myself into doing it my whole life. That's just kind of how I went about living. So now I just kind of do it. Plus, I hate confrontation, so that's also an issue. So yeah, I kind of just
Oh,
I don't know, because like all throughout my life, like I was saying, I just didn't feel like people really cared. People would laugh all the time, so I just kind of conditioned myself to laugh about it and push it to the side. So I guess that's why I do it. It's bad, but
yeah,
It's
yeah,
kind of it's kind of like, well, I'd say it this way. Like, imagine you're with three of your friends and then they're all laughing at you about it. Like one person's laughing about it and then the other person starts laughing. It's like the way my mind moves, it's like I'm very think before you speak. And I'm always like, will this action lead to an outcome that benefits me? And most of the times in those situations, I'm like, in this scenario, I'm either gonna get in a deeper hole that's gonna plummet my mental health even more, or I just laugh it off and hope that the topic gets changed. Uh, yeah, like he said, I was kind of conditioned to do that. Like one, to just suck it up,
yeah.
and two, just it's a lot of being raised on you're not supposed to have your feelings hurt, whatever, something like that. I'm not. I wasn't necessarily raised like that. But I just remember times where I felt certain emotions, and my parents like, you shouldn't feel like this. Because in some situations, I may have been in the wrong, but I still felt the emotions. Like it kind of told my mind that you're not allowed to feel certain emotions. So stick to the neutral or hide your emotions.
Mm. So just like over time build up of like concealing in a way, like
Oh
letting
yeah, oh yeah. Let me talk about that for a second. The buildup is absolutely insane. I'd say I've built up stuff up until maybe the age of 18. Like that's the most recent time I remember fully being aware of what I was feeling. Like until that point, it was just a random thought to me. But I feel like when I around the time where I turned 18, I'm 21 now. But when I turned 18, I felt a different sense of awareness and I started opening up more, not a lot, not to many people, but I just became more aware of what mental health was and how that affects me. And even now, going to college helped me a lot. Uh, it damaged me, but it also taught me. Because if I wasn't damaged, then I wouldn't know what I know now. Uh, I think you said women tend to have a lot. They have buildup, but it always comes out. Like with men, yeah, we don't let it out. I'm not gonna lie, we hide it. Um, but one thing I talked about before, uh, I don't remember. I think I mentioned to you on a live stream or something. But when you dump all of your buildup on somebody, that can really hurt the other person. I don't remember who I told this to, at least on a podcast. But my freshman year, something that really damaged me was a friend at the time was consistently they were going through a lot. Like they were probably the most unlucky person I might have met. It wasn't their fault, but they were just going through a lot. And I'm always the one that's gonna sit there and listen and be there for somebody. And they dumped so much of their trauma on me, and it kept building up and kept happening. And at the same time, I was going through something major that had plummeted my mental health. So I have my mental health and this person's mental health pushing me down. Dumping all that trauma just isn't healthy. It's okay to be vulnerable and let things out for to other people, because to tie this to the Bible says to discuss your problems with other Christians. And this person I'm talking about isn't a Christian, but either way, talking about your problems with other people, that's very healthy. Venting is very healthy, but there's a point where you're also bringing somebody in on your own life problems, and it feels like it's their life problems too. Uh, I was going somewhere else with this. I lost it.
Yeah.
Uh, oh, I think last episode when we were talking about giving,
Yeah.
you were talking about unconditional love. And I remember in that moment, my freshman year, I had reached a point. I'd always had to stop. I reached a point where I was like, I'm always here for these people. I'm always doing things for these people, but these people aren't doing things for me. And these people aren't listening to me. They're not asking me how I'm doing. They're not. I've even experienced it recently. That kind of damaged me too. But I always knew that thought was a lie. Like, my moral is to love unconditionally. That's something I will never go against. And in that moment, I was like, no, I'm doing what's good for me. I'm gonna look like a villain for my benefit, which is gonna look like me not listening to this person, me being a loner and just having time to myself. Now, that did benefit me a little bit, but it did make me look like a really big bad guy in the wrong ways. I knew people weren't gonna be okay with me not listening to them anymore, but I kind of let those thoughts out of the fact that they were damaging me. I didn't take the right approach to say, hey, I kind of need to take a step back, or hey, what you're doing isn't really helpful for me while I'm going through something. And I wouldn't word it like that. But the point is, I handled things the wrong way. Even though I didn't need to do something good for myself, I handled it the wrong way. I was going somewhere else. I lost it.
It's okay. Where did that stemmed from? Not expressing how you felt though. So you talked about men never bring it out. You know, before I go there, because I'm about to say not an unpopular opinion, but just something in my mind that might be an unpopular opinion. What are some bad habits that y'all have, or some bad habits, some emotions that might not be the best that you guys give off sometime? Just literally anything you can think of. Nothing too crazy if you don't want to say it on here, but like, just yeah. Like, do you catch yourself getting angry quickly? Are you nonchalant about things? Do you I don't know, anything. Just give me something, one thing. Just so
I
I can
think
say,
for me, I overthink way too much.
okay, that's the thing. Yep.
Yeah.
I think I'm nonchalant to an extent. And I say that, I mean, if somebody tells me something about them, I'm not nonchalant about that. But I'm nonchalant about things that most people would make a big deal about.
Okay, so we have overthinking and we have nonchalant to an extentness. I feel like personally, you guys say that you keep it in, and and girls are more, yeah, we honestly don't keep, yeah, build up, it comes out regardless. So yeah, our stuff comes out to the extent, like when it comes out, we say everything and probably a little more than we should and sometimes, but it comes out. I feel like for men, you guys think that you're keeping it in, but I feel like it just shows up in different ways for you guys. For you, you have a lot of buildup. You have a lot of things that you consider over the years. Your The way you can express it, and it's not a good way at all, but it can get fixed. That's something that can heal. Yours showed up as overthinking, Nathan. Yours showed up as being more nonchalant. I feel like if everybody just feelings are fleeting, and not every feeling is a real feeling, but I still feel like all feelings are valid enough to talk about. So when you go majority of your life not saying how you feel, not feeling like you can talk to anybody, feeling like you have to keep everything in, it's going to show up in different ways, especially if you really feel like you can't say anything. It's bound to come out some way. That's why, personally, that's why I feel like a lot of men have anger issues. That's why I feel like there's a lot of nonchalant men out there. That's why I feel like there's a lot of men who feel like they can't talk to girls. That could be the reason why you're overthinking, because you don't have anybody you can really talk to like that. Or even if you do now, I'm just saying, like, over time, something's bound to build up. Something has to come out of you not being able to talk to anybody about your problems or what you may be feeling. I feel like everybody needs somebody, even if it's just one person who you like 100% trust, 100% can go to every second, any time of like, of just when you're in need. But when you haven't had that person for a minute, when you have, like Nathan said, like, you didn't realize that until you were 18. When you have 18 years of, and yes, I'm counting the baby years too and the toddler years, because all that count. Honestly, people face childhood trauma without even realize they have childhood trauma. So there's build up from there. You was probably a kid and couldn't talk about certain stuff because maybe mommy told you to stop crying all the time, but you just needed to cry. And, that could be a build up thing. Literally anything could be it. But when you go on 18 years without having somebody to talk to, or feeling like you had to keep things in, something's bound to come out of that. So, yes, I can see how a lot of men turn up certain way. I was going to say something crazy, but like how women view them, like, oh, forget men, da da da. I can see how men turn out like that because they haven't talked to nobody probably all their life. They haven't had anybody dependable. They never felt like they could say anything. They were always shut down when they say anything or made fun of. So yeah, I see why men are nonchalant. I see why men feel like they can't really say anything to anybody. Like, I mean, it's bound to happen. It's just, so I just say that to say, yes, women, we express more. It comes out of us. We're really not good at hiding at all. Like, you could probably see it all over our faces. Like, we always have something to say, honestly. For men, it just comes out different ways, but people don't think about it that way. They think about it as, oh, that's just them. Like, no, this man's probably actually really going through something. Maybe you should sit down and talk to him and ask him about it. Like, I don't think we like to talk about these nonchalant men, like, well, I don't want a nonchalant dude. Like he's actually he's probably been beat up many times and you don't know about it because you're not talking, you're not talking to him about it. You're just judging him from like what you see. But men really do feel like they can't talk. And I just know that I have a lot of uncles. I have 3 grandpas. I have 4 brothers. I see it all day, every day. So I just know men feel like they have to, and I see it coming out different ways. What do you feel like are the best ways to deal with that though? I'm speaking for women specifically, like, how can women better support men in that area? Like, what can we do? Honestly, with anybody, men as well, like the men that laugh at other men. But you know what? No, I'm just speak for women because obviously those men are going through something too. So how can women better support men in their mental space when it comes to that and acknowledging and recognizing?
I'd say like just be there for someone, you know. I always tell everybody that I love, like, if you ever need anything, anywhere, anytime, any place, I'm gonna be there. Like, I feel like that's what we need. Someone who's gonna be there for us no matter what, to just listen. Let me vent it out every now and then. Cause like I said, I overthink a lot. I got a lot going on. Sometimes I just need to blah, and get it all out there. And I don't really need a response. Just sit there, listen to what I'm going through, give me a little hug, you know, and that'll be good for me.
I think if you look at a relationship, a woman usually wants to vent her problems to her boyfriend or husband. And to answer your question, it's basically the same thing. We just want the same thing. And I'd say women already do a pretty good job at doing that. It's just maybe at times there will be a solution offering when we don't want it, just like how guys would do the same thing to women. Um, yeah, and obviously just judgment free. And something else that really kind of gets compromised is integrity. Uh, I know one reason I definitely am afraid of being vulnerable is because I'm afraid that this person's going to tell somebody else. And since I've got to college, that's been a really big issue with the people I've known.
Mhm.
So confidentiality, integrity, that's a really big thing for all genders.
Yeah. So you mentioned solution. Did I cut you off?
No.
No. Okay. You mentioned solutions. Did you say sometimes men really don't want solutions? Is that what I heard? Like,
Yeah.
okay. That is so crazy to me because, well, it's not crazy. It's just crazy hearing it from you guys and saying, like, you said men really just want you to listen, like, you don't even need a response. And I think I've learned that over the past couple of years, just from my own experiences. I feel like, and Nathan, we was talking about this on a stream, I believe, and I was talking about how when is it best, like, how do you know somebody's listening, or how do you know somebody's just hearing you, or the listen to respond thing. And I feel like I'm a retired listen to respond person. I've always thought of myself as a pretty good listener because I could hit every point in which somebody was telling me information. So you could sit here and talk to me, and like I feel like I'm listening to you because afterwards I just hit everything and I make sure I miss not make sure I make sure I don't miss anything. But in doing so, it came off as you're listening to give me a response. You're listening to give me a solution. And it never dawned on me that I never had to say anything. I always thought when somebody was talking to me, I needed to have like a response to them, some advice, something to tell them. I never, but I've noticed like when I talk to men, I've noticed that it was kind of like a bother in a sense. Like I didn't need that, like why? But I mean, they never told me that, but I could just like see a reaction of like it didn't seem helpful, but I'm like, I gave you the best advice in the world and you made it seem like I did nothing. Sorry, but somebody told me recently, like, please just listen to me, like I literally don't need you to say anything. Honestly, it's made my life way easier because it did get hard on me too to sit here and be like, dang, like, because I never did have all the answers. I really didn't. So I used to always try to figure it out, or I tried to give somebody something, but that's not what was needed of me. But I don't know why, as women, we feel like we have to always give the answer for something. So, like, just in that experience, it was just like, I felt like men, I was trying to also figure it out. I don't know why I was looking at it deeper. I was like, dang, why do you feel like you don't need a response from me? Why do you feel like you don't need, because you're talking to me and I get like, okay, listen to you. I need to listen to you. But if I know something that could potentially help you, why would I not want to say that? But I had to learn like, okay, that's not always needed. But is it that do men feel like they have to, like they don't want a solution because, oh wow. Do men feel like they don't want a solution because they still want to feel like men? I'm saying it the wrong way, and I hope you guys are understanding me. Like they still want to feel like they can figure it out on their own. So they don't want a woman's solution because it's like, at the end of the day, I'm still a man. I don't need your solutions. I don't need your advice. Like, listen to me, yeah, but I kind of got to figure it out on my own. Because somebody did tell me, like you said about your overthinking stuff. You always have something in your mind. You're always thinking, like you're always overthinking. So I've dealt with somebody who was overthinking as well, and they told me that they already have the answers in which they're telling me. So they're venting to me about something. They already know the answers. They just want to get it out. They just need somebody to get it out to. So my response, my solutions throws them off, especially when I do it in the middle of them talking. Like I was humble with that. I was really humble with that. I was like, oh, I'm so sorry. Like It was like you literally threw off my brain process because I already have a lot going on up here. Like I just need to get it out to you. I don't need you to interrupt me. I don't need a solution in the middle of me talking. Because what they told me was they already had the solution. They just still wanted to say what they were feeling and just to get it out. Like I didn't need to present a solution. But I thought they were doing that because they looked at it as male and female. Like I'm still a man. I'm gonna tell you, but let me figure it out. Is that not the case? Is my question.
It's not that like it's not that I'm trying to be a man and figure things out. It's just like when I'm going through something, it's my personal preference. Like I gotta see this emotion out fully and get to my own solution to the problem. Like I'll I'll listen to someone's suggestions, but I feel like I have to get to my own personal solution to the problem because that's the best way that the problem can be fixed in my brain, if that makes sense.
Yeah, no, it does. But that seems to
Yeah.
be majority of men though. It's not like I don't feel like I ever came across a man that's like, what do you think? Let me get your no, I lied. Don't get me wrong. There has been a couple times where it's like, what do you think? But very, very slim. Men do not ask that often. Let me know what you think. And I feel like that's when they get to that point, then they obviously that's when they really want to know. Like whenever I get that question, I'm like, oh, you're generally trying to figure something out because you can't even get to that. Like I've never got that. And that's when I kind of learned to like, I'm only gonna say something if I'm given an open to. Like I need to let this man tell me, not saying like, oh, I'm gonna be quiet until he tells me what to do. No, but like somebody's vented to you, let them give you the space to not give you the space. Give them the space to let you in their space in a way. Like I'm gonna let you ask me when you need me. But until then, I'm just gonna sit here and listen to you. But if you need something from me, let me know. Like, what do you think about this? But if I don't get that, that's how I know. That's kind of how I discern. Like, oh, I just need to be a listener here. Yeah. So, what about you, Nate? Do you feel like you needed to get to your own as a man, or it doesn't have nothing to do with men and female? I'm asking for all women because a lot of women think this actually more than you think. Like, oh, men just want to still feel manly and powerful in their own, like they have authority. How dare they listen to a woman, to a girl tell them what to do?
I think for me, uh, I do like you said. I want to figure out things on my. At least I try to figure out on my own first, and I don't like outside opinions a lot, especially from people that aren't like minded like myself, or at least aren't don't follow Christian morals.
Absolutely.
Uh, so usually when I hit that point where I don't have an answer for something, that's when I start to go to somebody, or there'll even be a time where I realize off like initially I have no idea what to do with the situation. I need to go to somebody. Uh, yeah, I don't think there's ever been a time where I went to somebody just to vent to them and kind of find a solution when I already had a solution.
Mm.
Yeah, I don't think, but yeah, I think there is a thing where guys just want to figure it out on their own.
Yeah.
We are egotistical people. We do like to do things on our own, figure out ourselves. And some guys can't be humble enough to swallow their pride and say, I need help. Uh, I'd say that was me for a while. Probably is still me with certain things, at least not mental health, stuff like that. Uh, with other things though, I like to do things on my own, figure it out. And it does, I'll say in the past, it did kind of hurt my ego, I guess, when somebody will offer me a solution to something I was trying to figure out, or they would correct me and say, I'm doing something wrong. It took me a while to be humble enough to accept criticism, correction, and suggestions and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So I'd say to answer your question, that is a real thing.
Okay. but it
I
can just
like what you said about
no. Go ahead. I
okay.
want to.
I like what you said about like being like-minded people because when it comes to emotional situations, yes, I can tell you what's going on. Yes, you can give me suggestions, but no one knows exactly what's going on inside of my head except me. So I feel like I'm the best solution to the problem, if that makes sense.
Yeah, but sometimes you can be your biggest enemy.
That
Your
is
mind
true.
is not always right. So yeah, you know what's going on in your head. We're not mind readers. We can't see physically, visually what's going on, but you might need to tell somebody about that because it could be something very wrong going on, and you keeping it in because it's like only I know. Of course, only you're gonna know because you're not discussing what's going on up there. And I know it's like hard because it's like I don't, I don't even know if there's any right way to really define what's happening in your own head. Like I feel like I've been there. I've definitely been an overthinker before. Like I could never really put it into words, and I used to always be like, "Only I know." So you really like I don't even know how to explain it to you. But I feel like it just takes a lot of time. And then you talked about when I asked like, how do you discern who are people you can be vulnerable to? But the main thing that stuck out with you is that I've noticed is kind of the history you have with people. It kind of just takes a lot of time for you. You kind of have to build a relationship with other people before you can actually say anything really. Like it takes time. It takes getting to know maybe the other person or just who they are. And which I feel like is a lot of people, but I feel like it takes men a lot more longer to do that, even to find those people in general. I feel like men are really, they're definitely more closed off than women are. I feel like we're more outgoing in a sense, but we're more outgoing because we show our feelings more. I feel like that's anybody who shows their feelings more. And I just feel like there's no way you guys could survive without any kind of maintenance besides not talking to other people. So what does that look like? Like, what do you all do? There's no way you don't talk to anybody about your problems and you're not in your room going crazy. I just don't see how that's not happening. But so what are some things that you guys do to like stress maintenance, well-being maintenance, just to kind of there got to be some kind of decompression.
And listen, I do sit in my room, not talking to nobody about my problems and stuff like that. I was talking to my friends, my group chat earlier. I was talking like we were talking about relationships. Relationships. I said, y'all tripping. Single life is such a good life. You all by yourself, no distractions, chasing your goals,
I mean,
growing.
mhm.
Uh, yeah. And I was like, man, if the person you're with isn't helping you grow, then you're not supposed to be with them. Kind of same thing with friends. If you're not surrounded by people that aren't helping you grow, then you know you should try out just I mean me, I'm a loner. I like being by myself, like doing things by myself. I don't need somebody else to operate. I'm an independent person. But like I said, I do things on my own. I'm in here by myself. My decompression is the gym, probably playing the game, talking to my friends, simple things. I'm a simple person. Uh, but yeah, from relationships with friends and other people, it just kind of programs me to learn how to adjust. I do need companionship, interaction with other people, and I do make sure I get that. But me, I'm just a loner. I like being alone. I like my peace because I'm in control of it. Nobody else can disturb it.
Okay.
For me, like I don't know. I feel like I'm a loner, but and I like being alone and I like my peace, but I also crave companionship. Like all throughout my first like 18 years of life, I never really had like true friends for real until I got to college, I feel like. And that kind of hindered me really bad because I craved friendship really badly ever since a child. I was the only child, so at
Mm,
school, I was always trying to make friends with so many people, but I got bullied so much and I never really had real friends. And so I got used to being alone and I learned to like being alone, but I also really crave companionship. So like when I'm going through things, I don't know, like I feel like I should go to people more, but I don't know. I find it peaceful to just sit there with my thoughts, sit there in my bed, turn on some music and just go through it right there to see
mm,
like how can I figure this out on my own first. And I feel
mm,
like I shouldn't do that. I feel like I should talk to people more about what's going on, but I don't know. Like I was saying earlier, like every time I would go to people in the past, it just like it would seem like they didn't care. It didn't matter. So now I feel like I'm conditioned to just stay silent and go through it alone when I shouldn't.
yeah. Honestly, you didn't say anything wrong. You said a couple things wrong, but you didn't say anything wrong. When you said figure it out on your own, like just be in your own space for a minute, there's nothing wrong with that. And I totally feel like everybody should, before just because like Nathan said, somebody's trauma dump could honestly hurt you. So you don't ever just want to go to anybody and just like blah. Even if you absolutely need to, you should definitely have a person for that. But I feel like it's important that we sit with ourselves first and like really understand ourselves first, and then maybe not too deep. Like you're definitely not gonna get everything. And I feel like it takes other people to kind of be like, no, like it's this. God places and sends other people in your life to be that voice for you because we literally cannot figure it out ourselves. It's written. We don't understand our own flesh. So there is a time you need to sit with yourself, but I say after that, that shouldn't be your only option. That shouldn't be your only go to. After that, you do need to go talk out and talk to other people that you trust, people that you know who God placed into your life. I learned this in church. It's a Greek term called koinonia. Koinonia. It starts with a K. It's Koinonia, something like that. Koinonia, and it means the communion of saints. In translation, English term, the community of people. And basically, it's a term that's just stating like you need a community of people. You need a communion of saints, people you trust, people who you can depend on, people who you feel like were strategically handpicked by God Himself, placed into your life to be able to talk to. You need those people. And what it seems like that I'm hearing today, and just from what I've noticed in general, men do not have those people. Men, it's hard to find those people. They feel like they can't find those people, so they kind of give up in a sense and like don't really put any effort to finding those people. Because honestly, God will place people in our life, but if we're not taking action to find those people, if we're not even seem like we care enough to want those people in our life, if we're not praying for those kind of people, how are we ever going to get those kind of people in our life? We sit here and be like, oh, like I don't have nobody I could talk to. I don't have people here who I can really trust and just depend on. But are you praying for that? Have you ever asked God, like, hey, I genuinely need somebody? We can sit here and talk to God all day long, but God really wants to place us with other people who can be the voice for Him. That's what He does. He gives us a communion of saints, He gives us a community of people to be able to talk to. But if we don't let Him know that we even want those people, how are they ever going to be here? So, my first thing would be like, just really pray about it. Pray for friends. I had this friend who it took him a minute to actually find like true friends he could talk to. Like he used to always tell me about what you guys are telling me now, talking to his guy friends, and they're literally just laughing at him all the time for anything that he says. And it wasn't until kind of like you say, he got to college where he met new friends. Now, what he told me was he had to pray for them. He wrote in his journal all the time. He had to sit and pray to God every night, like, hey, like I kind of want a community of people in my life who I can depend on, who I can talk to, who are like-minded, because we want those like-minded relationships. We want people who are, nobody's ever going to be just like us, but if you can understand my mind a little more, if it's kind of similar to maybe what you're going through, then we can get each other a little more. So he was saying how he just prayed all the time. And then it wasn't until he got to college where he started to meet these people like one by one. They kind of just started coming to him. He said he knew it was because it was through prayer. He asked for these people. And now he has this community of people around him who he can talk to. And mind you, every friend is different. You might not can be able to depend on the friend for the same things in a way. Like maybe one friend, I can talk to them about family stuff because maybe they've been through a similar situation. So I know I can go to you and talk to you about anything regarding family. Maybe one friend is a friend for friends. Maybe I'm having a problem with this friend and I talk to you like, hey, some advice for this friend. Maybe there's a friend about just a hobby, like, oh, I'm a singer, you're a singer. Let's talk about singing, like, and give me some insight on that. So all friends aren't the same. Now, it is very important, kind of what Nate was saying, who you have placed in your life is supposed to add value to your life. I feel like people just be having people around just to have people around. Everybody is, your friends are supposed to add value to your life too, just like a relationship is. They are supposed to add value. They should be doing something for you. You should be, not saying that you're using them, but you should be getting something out that friendship and vice versa. You're doing something for them. If they can always come to you for stuff and talk to you about stuff, you should be able to do the same thing in return. It's all about reciprocity. I don't know how to say the word. I was going to say reciprocity, but you know what I mean. That's not how.
Reciprocation.
Yeah, yeah. I was just going to say reciprocate. You should always. There should be some type of reciprocation in that friendship. I feel like it all comes down to what you value, which that person value, and if you guys can exchange that in a way. You should never just have people around, just have people around, because then it looks like you're lonely. Then it just looks like you have all these people around you, but you can't even talk to them. Like, why would you want them there? So I feel like men really do need to take the time to find those people. And all I'm hearing is it's about people is the reason why men can't really express themselves. It's about people, why men's mental health is so bad in America today, because other people. It's not the man himself. It's not one individual particularly. It's just people in general. Yeah.
Yeah, you hit a really great point. You just gotta pray for it. Cause I remember like you were saying, my senior year of high school, that was like when my mental health was the worst ever. I have there's so many people I went to school with. Yeah, I'd say hi to them when we were at school, dap them up. But I get home, no one's texting me, no one's calling me, no one's talking to me. I have anything, but I he just started placing people in my life, and I have a good little village around me. But yeah, it is really about the people aspect. That's what I feel like is the biggest component of men's mental health. Because I don't know, man, the world's just cruel. At least in my life, it was and still can be, and people can be the greatest healing factor in your life or the greatest villains. It's hit or miss. So yeah, pray to God and ask him for good people in your life because you need it.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, let me clarify what I said. I like being alone, but I do want more friends. And what else? I've realized that I want more friends, but the issue is I never go out my way to try and make friends. And me not wanting to talk to people prevents me from doing that. But I always say I want more friends, but it's like you said, I pray for the right friends. Like I'm on my college campus all the time and I see all these people with their friends. Uh, and I'm like, dang, I kind of wish I had that. I wish I had people that had the same interests as me. Uh, same people that want to grow together, have similar goals in life as me, people that respect me, people that can keep me accountable for being who I'm supposed to be as a man of God. But I'm totally fine with being protected from the people that aren't supposed to be in my life. So I look at my situation as not a win or loss, but a win and progression toward another win. Uh, I won't say I'm jealous or I envy these people, but you do crave that desire for companionship with good people. Um, I'd say it was kind of opposite for me. My experience with finding friends, all of my closest, like-minded, reliable friends don't go to my college. No, I'm not saying that to offend my friends here, but I've probably found only one person here that uh is like-minded with me, but they don't even really talk to me anymore. So that kind of sucks. But I guess coming to this big school, it's just been hard for me to. And there's people out there. There's so many people out there that I could easily be friends with, but it's just been kind of hard for me to find the right people that I want to be my friends. I don't just want anybody in my life.
Yeah. Wow. I was just gonna say something. It's coming back. Do you so you talked about I feel like for women, do you guys think it's easier for women to make friends? Just your honest opinion. Yes or no? You do?
Yes.
The men?
Yeah.
Really? I
Yes.
think so. You guys might be looking at it wrong. I feel like a lot of women think it's easier for men just because like
I
women
think girls will make other girlfriends easier than guys make other guy friends easier. Probably. Probably.
probably no. No, women are complicated. Just because we know women, we already know how we are. So it's kind of it shouldn't be hard. And I don't get 100% why it is, but at the same time I know why it is. It's because we already know ourselves as a woman. Like we know what comes with being a woman. I feel like I don't know why it creates so much friction, but I just feel like that's the reason. That's the only way I know how to put it. I feel like men, just from what I can see, it's easy for men to just talk to other men. Like I'd noticed in the store, like men just dapping up, don't even know each other. Like just see something they like, nice shoes or something. Oh, you see them playing a game they're playing or something. I can talk about the game. All of a sudden, Nate, you live all the way out the country. You made like 20 friends in a whole nother state because y'all played on a game together. I'm sure it was more deeper than that, but still, like for the most part, you guys are close because you guys just played on a video game. Now all of a sudden you're besties. Like it does not work like that for women. It really doesn't. Nor would we have stayed in contact for so long. Or some other things men do. I feel like men, it's just y'all can just have a conversation and it's like not saying that it might not stick all the time, but it's so much easier for men to talk to other men than it is for women to talk to other women. A lot of women are envious of other women, or they feel like that woman is envious of them, or if they're looking at them the wrong way, maybe she's looking at you because she thinks you're pretty and you want to talk to her and she wants to talk to you. And I don't know, but like on some friendly type stuff. But that one will probably look at her like, why is she staring at me? Like she's weird and like it's always bad blood with women, and I hate that so much. That actually really bothers me because I want some more friends, and I've actually went more on the limb. Just like I met some people recently, and just like a simple hey, we should hang. Like I feel like it shouldn't be that hard. Like I literally wanted to walk up to this girl and be like, I think we should be friends. Like we were when we were kids, it was so much easy to make friends when we were kids. We can literally just be like, let's be friends, and then we were friends. Why is it so weird as adults? And why is it a woman and men dynamic? Like women and women, men and men, women and men. It's so weird to me. What are you gonna say, Nathan? I see you pick up your mic.
Uh,
Me personally,
Oh,
I have very crippling social anxiety. So it's hard for me to just like walk up to somebody and say hi, like a random person that I don't know. Cause you know,
yeah.
I don't want to get judged. And it's bad. Like I feel like like I love myself enough now that it's like, okay, I don't care what people think about me, but it's still mad awkward to just go up to somebody you don't know and speak to them. For some
Yeah.
reason, it's just one of the hardest things ever for me. But I think you do make a point. I think if you put a group of men and women in a room, it would be easier for the men to talk to each other. Because it is true. All you got to do is,
Yeah.
dap them up. You can really strike a conversation about anything.
Oh my
Shoes,
God. Talk about a
clothes, like,
sports game.
yeah,
I've never
it
seen
is
so
really
many
easy.
men come together in my life over. Oh, all you gotta do is talk about the game last night. If you missed something about a game, that's it. Just say game, and then all of a sudden, men is just in a huddle talking about whatever. It's like, yeah, it's not like that for women. It's not. But yeah, it's weird. Wow.
I have a very off topic question.
Ooh.
Men, we will sit on the game for like 3 or 4 hours, on a game with each other. What do women do to pass the time?
It's like
Like, because I can't imagine not having my PlayStation and just playing it. Like,
That is
what do
watch
hilarious.
women do?
live.
No, that's funny because like that's real. Because I think about the same thing. I'd be like, do men not have other things to, like? What would men do without the game? What would they spend their time on? Like women though, what do we do? Let me just speak for myself. What do I do when somebody's on the game for hours? Wow, all of a sudden now I don't feel like I do anything. What do I do? No, I do stuff. Hobbies. I feel like women have hobbies. A lot of women, I hate to speak for all women, sit on their phone, social media, da da da. Women, we have hobbies. We invest into other things. We're not sitting on the game for 3 or 4 hours. But honestly, for majority of women, most likely just watching YouTube. I can just say that's our game. We're watching other women's vlogs or something, fantasizing, wishing that life was mine. I can speak for all women. I know I can speak for all women. I catch myself doing that. Then I'd be like, wait, I need to go make my own life. Like honestly, watching the vlogs really inspired me to be like, you know what? I'm gonna get up and stop watching other people's life. And so women's game, men's game is a woman's YouTube. I'll say that. We like watching, yeah, vlogs.
Okay.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I can watch vlogs for hours. Yeah. What about do men? Hmm. Do they feel like women? Do you guys feel like women care about men's mental health? Like, is that a thought that you guys have? Like, women don't really care about vulnerability. Do you guys think women don't care about vulnerability, or do you think we do care? It's just hard for you guys to express it.
Uh, okay, I'll say this. From the last relationship I was in,
Mhm.
vulnerability is important to them. However, it's not, I feel like it's not followed through with. Like, I see a lot of people post men's mental health matters, kind of like when we were talking about Palestine, how there's social media activists, people treat it as a trend. It's kind of like, I feel like it's like that. Like, they'll see a post about men's mental health, they'll post that for the aesthetic or to at least their way of showing they care about men's mental health. Uh, don't get me wrong, I'm sure there are plenty of women that care about men's mental health.
Yeah.
But I mean, if I think about it the other way around, I've never, I don't know. I do know vulnerability is important in women's opinions and men, at least. I'm trying to think of like, does a guy care about women's mental health? And I really don't know. Like, at least for me, I obviously care about the people's mental health in my life, like women or men. But I've just never seen a guy be so well, at least my friends. My friends are like me and all of our friends. We're all considerate and aware of mental health. But there's not a lot of guys I've seen that care about other people's mental health, or at least I want to acknowledge it. And I think they're honestly hiding it. There's a bunch of buildup and they're kind of just masking it up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I feel like a lot of people want to think that they care about men's mental health, but I don't think like they know what it means or
Mhm.
like are able to like sit down with a man and like talk to him about what mental health means to him and how to help. Like not a lot of people are aware of what is affecting men's mental health. So they can't really do anything about it. Like they were saying, yeah, they can, put some on their story on Instagram, but they can't actively help someone because they don't know how.
Yeah.
And to piggyback off Nate again, a lot of men don't know what's going on in their own head either. They don't understand their own mental health, or they don't care, or they do care and they're just hiding it because we all have our reasons. So, yeah, I feel like people, like women, should have conversations like these so that they can try to understand what's going on so that they can learn how to help.
Yeah.
I think something I notice is from my experience and from others, there's a lot of, at least in relationships, there's a lot of guys fulfilling the women's needs. Like, I don't know how to say this. At least what I experienced, it was me trying to fulfill another person's needs and doing what was good for them, making sure they're good. But it was never reciprocated to me. And like I said earlier, I'm big on unconditional love, not expecting anything in return. But at some point, I do wish I did get something in return, like a simple, how are you? How's your day? How's your family? Something as small as that. Um, because from guys that I've noticed, they do a lot, the good guys, they do a lot to make sure their woman is right and meeting their emotional needs and stuff like that. And I've never seen it reciprocated. I mean, obviously, I don't see inside everybody else's relationship, but from what I see on the outside, it's a lot of the guy giving to the woman, not woman also giving to the guy. It's more 150, not 100, 100. Um, as far as like friendships, though, a solid friendship is always going to have like good care both ways and emphasis on the solid part. Uh, Not a lot of friendships nowadays, especially in college, aren't pretty solid. Where, yeah, there's just not a lot. I've just haven't seen a lot of good friendships in college, at least.
Yeah. I can honestly back up what you said about men kind of cater to women's needs more when it comes to like their mentality and stuff and just checking in on them and how they are. I could definitely back that up. It's actually crazy to see, but that's how you know if you got a good person in your life because obviously they'll reciprocate that. You know you have a good person when they're always checking in on you or like, how are you doing? Ask the questions like that. Like that's needed. And I feel like a lot of men can't handle that as well though. Like if we want to talk about that, I feel like I've noticed some men become, and maybe they're just not at a place where they can handle companionship because I've seen a woman like, how are you? How are you doing? Kind of all the time, just because she felt like she needed to. She noticed like something wrong with this man, and she felt like her job as a woman, she was invested in this man. She wanted to show him, not only just show him that she cares, but like that's genuinely who she was. Like, how are you? Do you need anything? But he wasn't in a position or space to receive that from her. So he was kind of annoyed by it, and he kind of shut her down in a way, like he never talked about it or how he was feeling. And obviously, they just weren't right for each other, and obviously, he wasn't in a position where he could have handled that kind of love and care yet. Like he still has stuff he needs to work on. But I feel like there's a lot of men who's not in that space to be able to receive that. It'll come off as annoying to a lot of men when they're constantly asked that because they've never been asked it before. They've never felt like they could open up before. Now I have somebody ask me all the time, like, leave me alone. So it's like, I get it. But at some point, if you ever want somebody in your life, at some point, you're going to have to answer those tough questions. The more you answer them, the less hard it will be, you know? So do you feel like in that scenario, they weren't right for each other? Or do you just feel like maybe that man had stuff he needed to deal with on his own first? Or was she actually being annoying? Which, no, but what you think?
Yeah, I feel like he just wasn't ready for that level of commitment, ready for that relationship. I feel like as a man, that's like every man's dream, you know? You want that level of companionship with a woman, you know? You want someone who actually cares about your life and asks you about it and how you're doing, you know? But yeah, I just don't think he was ready for all that yet.
Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Not gonna say it's a dream, but that would be amazing to have in life.
And it's like, how would he ever know that? Because like practice makes perfect. So at some point, honey, you're going to have to speak. There's going to be another girl by God's grace because of what you just did to this girl. There's going to be another girl. And you have to, like, how would he have come to that point to be like, okay, finally? That's kind of why I was thinking maybe because what I kind of see it as, a lot of women like to talk about he would if he wanted to, but I kind of see it as he would for the one he wants, in a sense. So a lot of women like to look at it like he would if he wanted to. So if that's basically saying if he's not doing it for you, he just doesn't want to do it for you. But I feel like in that case, I don't really like that term all the time. Because yes, I get it. I do. There is some instances where it's like, oh, he would if he really wanted to. But some men really can't. So the would if he wanted to doesn't work in certain scenarios because he wants to, but he like genuinely can't. There's some instances where a man just can't do certain things. But I feel like with him, do you feel like, I guess that's kind of asking the same question. Like, would there ever be a right woman he will open up for? Like, does it just take the right woman in his scenario? Or does it just take any woman? And does it just take him learning how to open himself up? But is that for the right woman or is that just with him personally?
It could be both.
Mm.
Because if he wasn't vulnerable with the last woman, then it's possible that she may have had things that prevented him from doing that. But everybody's different. It could have been him not being ready, emotionally ready. Because I've met people that have said they weren't ready to be vulnerable or emotionally responsible for somebody else. I think that's a good thing to recognize. But it could be the woman as well. But at the same time, if somebody's asking you, then I feel like it's not that complicated. So I'm gonna say it was him. Like he needs to be ready. And yeah, look at myself. Like, yeah, it's him.
I'd agree 100%.
Yeah, I agree too, actually. How could it be her? But that's not even me being a feminist. Genuinely, how could it be her? I would want somebody to ask me those questions too. I have some stuff I actually want to talk about, but the dynamics is different for men and women. Sadly, it doesn't have to be, but it kind of just is. Just that's just how we're wired. We do learn some stuff along the way. Like we pick up stuff from society. So a lot of men picked up in order to be men, I have to conceal and hide what I'm feeling. That's society. That's not how you're wired. That's just how along the way you pick those things up, just going throughout the motions of life. But wired is there wasn't something like God didn't put something in us to be like, oh, men don't don't say what you're feeling. Oh, women, be more open with your feelings. Like that was never a thing. That's something that was picked up. But women, we are just wired to be naturally more emotional, just hormonal reasons and things women have to go through, sadly. But yeah, yeah. Actually, I think I'm capped out.
Yeah, that timer went off a long time ago. I ain't gonna lie.
Yeah, I know it did. I was looking, I was like, oh,
Now the conversation is going too good, so like I'm not gonna restrain an
oh yeah,
important conversation.
never.
Yeah.
However, we have questions
That's
for
right.
Mr. King Beam.
Yes, my favorite part.
Yes, for those of you that are still watching, hopefully I end all episodes asking guests 10 questions. I only have 9 to get to know the guests better. So your first question is, what is your favorite song, Christian song?
That's hard. Um, it either have to be Holy Spirit by Holvey or
Mm,
Better by Ty Tribbett.
rocking with Hovey.
I like Holy Spirit, yeah.
Who is your favorite Christian artist?
Holvey, definitely my guy.
So real. What is something you're looking forward to this summer?
Hanging out with the bros. We got real close
Yes.
over this last semester. We will be going to the movies and going
Yes.
to restaurants and hanging out and doing things together. And I'm excited.
W summer coming. What is your favorite time of day to go to the gym?
That's hard. I think I'd have to go with 7 a.m.
You're
There's no one in
insane.
there. It forces you to get up early. I feel like I don't know. I just feel powerful waking up at 6 o'clock in the morning so that I can get to the gym by 7.
Yeah,
Plus, it's
don't
empty,
worry.
so like it's
Next
better.
semester you'll follow my footsteps just like I did. I stirred away from 7 a.m. gym time after sophomore year. What is your favorite moment from this semester?
Um,
You can't say spring break.
I think I'd have to go with me making my short film. Like it's not done yet, but we were supposed to film it on Sunday, but it rained. But there's like an inside portion that we did film, and it's been really surreal to see this whole thing come to life after working on the script for an entire year and then finally finding actors and having rehearsal and then to like see the vision of the thing in my head like happen right before my eyes was a beautiful experience. So that definitely had to be my favorite part of the semester.
Who/what do you go to when your mental health isn't doing well? You can say names if you would like to.
Usually it's either Sean, Erica, or my mother. Shout out my mom. Love my mom.
His mom's cool. Would you rather do 30 minutes of cardio or hold a plank for 30 minutes?
Cardio. 30-minute plank is insane.
30 minutes?
I feel
You
like
mean
a
seconds?
2 minute plank is Wait, was it 30 seconds?
30 minutes.
Yeah, no.
Nathan, that is
Absolutely
two
not.
different spectrum. Anybody would choose cardio for 30 minutes. They
I
can walk
watched
for
my sister held a plank for 20 minutes. It's
Why?
possible.
minutes.
Yeah, I don't
I've
know
never
why.
seen that.
Why
No.
would you choose to do that though? Like, no.
I feel like 30 minutes of holding a plank can give you more abs than 30 minutes of cardio can help you burn calories.
Sure. If you're holding a plate for 30 minutes, I would think so.
Yep.
That's
Won't be
crazy.
me.
I'll try it.
Have fun.
Who is your biggest inspiration in life?
Hmm. That's a hard question. Um, I think I'd have to go with either my dad or my uncle. They both they both like have achieved so much, like specifically my dad. I've seen him like have things he's wanted to do in his life and just like go out there and do it, and it made him happy. And I feel like my version of success is doing what you love in life and like achieving your dreams and just being happy in life. And I feel like my dad has found success in living this life, and I want to be like him. So yeah, I think my dad's my biggest inspiration.
Oh, that's lovely.
He has a cool dad, a very cool dad.
That's cool.
If you could relive any moment in your life, what would it be?
That's hard. Um, Senior year, my spring play performance, specifically Saturday night. I was the lead role, and that was the best performance I've ever given in my life. And yeah, I definitely want to relive that.
That's it. Sorry, Mario, you're the co-host, so you don't get any questions.
Oh, that's fine. I'm a listener.
I don't know how long this episode is gonna be, but I don't care. This is a great conversation, guys.
It was
Thank you all
excellent.
for
Thank
recording with
you.
me up until 11:10 p.m. and
Yeah,
further.
of course,
Don't
of course,
worry.
of
Um,
course.
After this, you know where I'm going.
oh, yeah, it's past your bedtime, bud.
Yes.
I don't know what I'm doing. Probably gonna get on the game.
Honestly, I
Yep.
feel like I talk more in the night.
Yeah, if anybody's listening, going through finals, praying for you. I just
Praying for
finished
you.
mine. It was a successful final season, but for y'all, especially you STEM sickos,
Please pray for
uh,
me.
praying for y'all.
Oh yeah.
All y'all doing calculus and chemistry and all that stuff. Yeah, I'm praying for y'all. Uh,
Statistics.
ooh, yeah, I ran away from that as soon as I got there. Uh, follow the Christian
Yes.
Fitness Association on Instagram. If you're in PG County, hopefully this comes out before, but June 4th, first in-person get together. June 5th, first gym gathering. Indy, we are gonna figure your dates out. Kamari is gonna be leading y'all though. Me and Jeff are gonna be leading in PG County. So follow us, stay tuned. Yeah. Anything y'all want to say to the people before I hit the record button?
Um, as always, shout out my dog Jax, the greatest, God's greatest creation ever, actually. And subscribe to King XP on YouTube.
Oh, have nothing. Good night.
Bye,
It might be good
everybody.
night. Good night, good morning, good afternoon.
Goodbye, everybody.
Bye.